Welcome to your Biggest Deal podcast with Joseph Williams.
Let's go.
Connecting you with top real estate professionals and entrepreneurs from around the country about the deals, strategies, and motivation that made them successful and will help you reach the next level. This is your Biggest Deal with Joseph Williams.
Well, there's not much to say, but Patrick Melton, who we're about to go in with about wholesaling, is one laid-back cat hanging out in his Italian village on the edge of a lake. But he gives us some breakdown of a really, really good wholesale deal that was a fat assignment check that really kind of kickstarted his wholesaling career, and how that's kind of molded into a small business that's allowing him to be free and travel the world with his family. So listen up, get some tips, and if you like what he's saying, model after him. Well, let's welcome Patrick Melton to the Your Biggest Deal show. Patrick, as you can see, is currently living large in Italy, which we'll kind of talk about here in a little bit. But great story there. Just to kick it off, Patrick, can you tell us a little about who you are and kind of what got you started in your current business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in real estate for about 10 years. I basically was in college. This was a little prior to getting into real estate, but I was in college and flipping cars. I've always been pretty entrepreneurial, and I was flipping cars in college and decided that there wasn't any real reason for me to stick around in college if I was making a ton of money flipping cars. And so I dropped out and started a car business and did that until 2009. Apparently nobody wanted to buy hot rods and sports cars when their stock portfolios were plummeting. So so I ended up out of the car business and into real estate, where there was a surplus of investment property, cheap, discounted properties, lots of foreclosures, great time to buy. And so that's sort of when I got into real estate, and started wholesaling then, and then got involved in another real estate company, and a couple of years ago got during the meantime I had been doing a lot of investing on my own, and then in the past 3-4 years got back into wholesaling full time, and so that's sort of what I'm doing now.
Yeah, so it sounds like you entered the market at probably the best time in the last, 50 years. It seems like there's a lot of people that made a lot of money in that 08, 09 crash, and I think some people have their fingers crossed that's going to happen again, but I'm not sure we're ever going to see an entry point like that in our lifetime again, because that was a one-off. So basically, you're wholesaling now with some guys. Some of your friends, partners based out of Texas, and you're kind of in and out of Texas and traveling abroad. Tell us about kind of that business and how it works with your partners, and then that kind of can lead us into some of your big wholesale deal stories. Yeah,
so the business I'm in now, I linked up with some guys that I've known for years. I actually, when I was in college, I'm big into cars, so it kind of all circles back to the car thing. But in college, I met this guy, valet parking cars, and I ran into him again when I got into real estate at the larger wholesale brokerage. And so a couple years ago, I gave him a shout because I knew he was still doing a lot of wholesale stuff, and linked up with him. And so now we're doing wholesale full time, and I'm the acquisitions, he's the sales guy, and we just hit the ground running. Basically, I had left in 17. I had left the position at a real estate company that I'd helped start, and then it was a terrible time to not be employed, and I had a kid on the way, and a couple houses, and a bunch of cars, and it was not a great time to not have income. And so I linked up with him, and we started just hustling and hit the ground running, and that's what leads into to my biggest deal.
Now, was it also, and you guys were grinding for some wholesale deals in Texas, I'm assuming. Now,
yeah.
was this your first deal? Your first wholesale deal?
It was my first wholesale deal on the acquisition side. I had been involved in some other wholesale deals as a buyer, and as just kind of like a syndicator on some wholesale deals. Yeah, but this was the first one that I, from beginning to end.
Well, this is from just the pre-story. I'll let you dive in, but just hearing some of it, this is a good one to start out on for sure, and maybe even spoiled you a little bit.
Yeah,
and always trying to chase that first high again.
Yeah, disclaimer: they're not all like this.
No. The next one was probably $2,500. But go ahead and dive in and tell us about this major wholesale deal. You killed it in Texas.
Yeah, man. So we had been again. I had been without income for several months. Baby on the way. Actually, the baby was born at this point, and now she's running around. So if you hear her screaming, that's the baby that was being born. But so I'm hooked up with my buddy, and we're trying to find some deals. And at that point I was doing my own cold calling and just trying to shake the trees, trying to get something to come out and materialize. And I get a call from somebody, an investor that I'd known, an older guy that had a decent little portfolio, and he'd called me on an unrelated matter, and we just start talking and chatting about stuff. And I mentioned that I was buying real estate, and he's like, well, I'm selling, I'm going to sell a couple deals. I'm just getting too old to hassle with this stuff. And I've held them for a really long time. And so, do you want to take a look at some of my houses? And so I was like, well, yeah, sure. I guess that would, work out. And so he gives me an address of this property and tells me a little bit about it. It was an old house, like I think a 20s build, and the house had been converted into 3 individual units, individually metered, and then the garage was this weird rickety, it was like built on stilts, and there was a unit on top that was a 1 unit. And so he's like, yeah, this is, it's rented, and the rents are a little under market, and they were actually way like more than half of what that area was getting, but rents were way under market. And he just wanted $175,000 for it, and that was, if he could just get that, he'd be pretty happy. And so, in the meantime, I'm on the phone with him, but I'm looking it up on MLS, and I was like freaking out because I'm like, you want what? Like,
hold your tongue.
Yeah, like, oh my God, okay, that this really sounds like a deal. And so, and I'm putting him on mute and telling my buddy about it, and he's like, oh my God, get his ass in here right now. Let's get him to sign a contract. And so, anyways, we get it contracted, and he's one of those landlords that's really involved in the properties and everything. And so, he wasn't. The showings were real difficult because we weren't like, hey, we're going to wholesale this deal. It was
your first one.
Yeah, and I wasn't real comfortable with the the whole script on how that works with the seller, like trying to keep the seller kind of in the dark, but not be a shady dude at the same time. And so it was crazy because we had our own buyers that were looking at the deal. We had other wholesalers that brought buyers, and they brought a couple buyers, and the showings were kind of zoos.
Yeah. Did he want to be there? Was he like opening the doors?
Oh
for
yeah,
you?
no, he was. Yeah, he wanted to be there. He wanted to introduce me to the tenants and tell me their life story, because they've been shafting him on rent for 10 years or something. And the tenants wanted to talk to me, and man, it was just like, the whole thing was like awkward and uncomfortable, and we had to do a couple showings. Because it wasn't selling, and we had it marketed. So we'd contracted it at 175, and we had originally marketed it at 350. And I don't know what these other wholesalers had marketed it for. So there was just fee on fee on fee on this thing. And when you have other wholesalers that are marketing deals and they have buyers, they're standing there and the seller's here and they're talking numbers with the their buyer, and it's just an awkward thing, especially the first deal to be like that. So we're running out of option. We don't have any real hits on it. And the last day of option, somebody comes along and buys it sight unseen. It was not anybody that had been in any of the showings, and they bought it for $3. They actually bought it for $3.25, and they paid somebody $25, and we sold it to some. So there was kind of a daisy chain type of a deal. We sold it to somebody.
Yeah, someone found the buyer.
Yeah, and so we sold it to for $3.25, but we made $125 clean on it, and it wasn't, like I said, disclaimer, not all wholesale deals are going to make you $125 grand, but it did a lot, man. It helped. It gave me a ton of confidence that, even with showings where sellers are a little suspicious or whatever, when it's awkward, and you can still navigate your way through it, and it also gave me some money to help pay the bills and kick things off. And man, it really it was the deal that helped push everything along and just get
jumpstart your your life in a new direction.
It did, man.
A lot of times, my first one wasn't my first wholesale deal when I kind of first launched it. I got launched my website and all this when I was trying to find some off-market deals for me to flip. It wasn't too shabby. It was $19,900 is what it ended up being. But yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It just gives you that confidence, like, oh shit, I did that in a week into this business. I'm going to look at this house. Now it took a long, it always a little bit longer than what people think in terms of actually getting it closed and getting the money and all of that. But even $20,000 as your first deal, you're like, okay, this thing is like you said, got legs and can run as a business within its own right. But also, if you're looking to flip or acquire rentals, it can kind of provide you with that steady flow of properties, and then you can wholesale what you don't want as well, or you can just wholesale everything if you don't, you kind of want to be hands off with kind of being a landlord or being a flipper. So that 125 grand is nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, that's
it's a house. It's a whole nother house.
Yeah. You could go buy a little rancher in Texas for cash with that.
Oh man, totally.
If you wanted to.
Yeah, and it kicked off what we do, because I do flips, my buddy does flips, he keeps rentals, I'll keep rentals. We'll wholesale, we wholesale most of them, but then we do our own deals. But man, if you can make a $20,000 fee, that's what a lot of people make on flips. Hell, that's more than what I've made on some flips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a pretty big flipper that I've listened to a couple times, but a big wholesaler too. A couple hundred deals a year, and I think one of his things is if I can make a third of what I'm going to make on a full flip, I'll wholesale it right then.
Oh
so
yeah.
If a full flip's going to be $30K in 5-6 months, and I can make 10 right now, in a month, I'm going that route every day. There's a lot less risk, no overhead. Just move it and make the money and hit the bank and go home, and just keep moving. So, so as you wholesale, it seems like you've been doing that for 3 or 4 years, but it's allowed you to kind of start thinking about, your baby growing up and kind of what you want to do, not, be in Texas in the middle of July when this is being recorded, or in August and hang out in Italy. So it looks like it's trying to provide you some freedom. Is that something you're looking to build on and try to virtual wholesale for a while, or
totally.
just with your partners, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, man. In fact, I bought a deal last week in Mesquite. I think, last year really showed us a lot of stuff with having to work remotely and do this remotely. I was virtual wholesaling houses down the street from me because we couldn't go anywhere really. The sellers were sick, or they didn't want people in their house, or whatever the situation was. Or I was too scared to go in there, whatever, whatever it was. Man. It was great because I was able to sort of systematize, figure that part out, and at least put something in place that I could do this remotely from anywhere. And if I could do it from Dallas, well, why not do it from somewhere cooler? And so that was kind of, that's, I guess that idea, it started a couple years. The first time I came here I was like, man, I gotta figure out a way to live here. This would be the awesome, the coolest. But yeah, last year really illustrated how I could go about doing it.
Yeah. Now, when you say systematize, are you utilizing your partners in Texas as well as a network of VAs? You got like one or two VAs, or how does that work? Are they doing cold calling and admin work? Kind of give us like a quick rundown of how you're kind of set up.
Yeah, so without spilling all the secret sauce, we do utilize some VAs. I do have guys on the ground in Texas. I do use my network, which has been, that first big deal came from my network, and so I'm a big advocate of relationships and networking and doing deals that way. So I utilize a network of real estate agents, especially sort of newer real estate agents that are trying to get their feet wet with they want to learn investment real estate, or they want deals. They're great to utilize to go and take pictures of property or go open it up. But I've got my partners there that usually one of them's in town, and they can go and deal with stuff. And then for marketing, we juggle a couple different strategies: VAs, cold calling, direct mail, the text message campaigns, voicemail campaigns, really everything that anybody else is hitting, we're trying to hit it and just ride those waves. It's everybody's hitting the email campaigns right now. So, we were hitting that. Okay, we're off of that now. Let's go hop onto direct mail because nobody's hitting the direct mail right now. So I'm gonna
just working all your different marketing channels as they come and go.
Here, I'll switch around.
Oh,
Sorry,
nice.
The sun was just hitting me. So
Yeah, it's all right.
this.
Yeah, no, we get a new view of Italy, so that's fine. Yeah,
we're looking at some properties here, and it's really cool because can you hear me? Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
the properties here are they're ancient. So you want to talk about a tricky title search when it goes back 600 years.
How do they even do that? Is it
dude.
Is it digital at all? Or is it just like in the local church courthouse or something?
So it is. You have to go through, especially in the small towns, you have to go through the paperwork, and you hire. It's not a title company. You have to use a notary, which is a much more advanced notary than what we have in the States. And they do the title search, and then they notarize, and it takes months to close anything. And the house that we're staying at right now, there's someone buried back here in the backyard.
Yeah, it's like an old family. Like
man.
Put Uncle Sal in the backyard.
In the backyard,
Well,
somebody's wife passed, and it was like I think it was the syndicator of the town or something. It was the original occupant of the home, and and his wife passed, and she's somewhere in the backyard because we were looking at buying this place and redoing it. We're going to put a pool back here, but we have to watch out for the body.
I love it. There's never a dull moment with real estate. It seems like
Oh, no.
there's always a story. Now, is not to go down a rabbit hole on living abroad, but is this like an affordable area in Italy? I know they have the places with like the $1 houses that need a full rehab from the ground up. Are houses in this town affordable at all?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It's not a large town. There's a draw because there's a lake here, just a gorgeous crystal clear lake. So the houses are, it's not too bad. The dollar homes are crazy because it's those are done like an auction style, and they're actually done because they're all built in a row, and they have shared walls, like townhomes.
Yeah.
Right? And they're ancient, and so one of the reasons they do that is because if you have an occupied house and an occupied house and then unoccupied and occupied, right? they're so old that they're starting to collapse, and the unoccupied isn't, no one owns it and will pay to have them structurally reinforced. And all these guys are falling into this, they're all going to collapse because nobody owns this one. So part of that deal is they auction them off, and they're, they start at $1, but a couple can sell for $1, and you have to buy that and then put up X amount of money. It's like 15 grand or whatever, depending on the deal. And you have to say you're going to fix it within a couple of years. And
and then some of them say you have to like move there too. Some of them are like, I've seen some of them where it's all about population of the town where it's dwindling, so they're just trying to bring people in and have money, injected to some degree. But yeah, that was a good marketing
one of those
scheme
towns.
I figured on the lake it wouldn't be. Now, no, so that's great. I'd love to live abroad, and effectively, that's what real to kind of make that full circle. That's what real estate can do for you, is to provide that freedom. And some people say passive income. If you hire someone and are completely hands off, maybe it's passive. But typically, there's some work to be done. But it allows you to not work, 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week or whatever. I mean, a month. It allows you to kind of pick and choose how much you want to work, how much deal flow you want, especially if you do build a portfolio and, as you age, you're not 20 anymore and you don't want to, work full time. You can say, I'm going to work 10 hours, this month, or whatever it might be, instead of a full schedule. So, freedom, I think, is what a lot of people are chasing when they're diving into real estate in the long term. So when we talk about long term, kind of what is, what's your goal? With you have partners in Texas, you're talking about buying a place in Italy. Well, what's the long term goal for you? Are you looking to build a wholesale company that you can step out of, or build a portfolio to kind of provide for your lifestyle, or what?
So I've been building a portfolio a little bit. Prices are so inflated right now. It's difficult to keep acquiring stuff, or at least for me. I'm one of those guys that's hoping there's it drops a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of real estate's a great vehicle for doing that, for having that freedom and being able to expand out. And there's lots of different facets of real estate that you can pursue, depending on what your experience is, or where your expertise lies, and so it is a great vehicle. And as far as what I'm trying to do, I'm not quite sure. I'm still
that's good.
I'm playing with some different a real estate service company. I've funded that. I've been working that, and I can operate that from abroad, and so that's an idea. I'm still doing some wholesale deals. In fact, I just bought a house last week. Bought it, we put it out, and assigned it that afternoon. Didn't even have to do a showing or anything, and somebody sent me the pictures. So I had somebody, I don't even remember where I got this deal. I think it was a real estate agent maybe. But anyway, somebody brought me the deal, sent me pictures already. I contracted it, put out the pictures they sent, assigned it that afternoon, and went back to drinking wine and eating pizza. And so if I can do a couple of those, I mean, not to say everybody should do real estate and move to Italy, but the median income here and in a lot of other countries is much lower than certain places, a lot of places in the States, especially big cities. And so you're able to buy more, you afford more, and so you don't necessarily have to work as much or do as many deals. And so that's kind of the idea is, if I can carry some of the momentum I had from Dallas and move that into here, then virtually wholesale, run a real estate service company, and the whole time be doing it from here and just juggling schedules. The schedule thing is difficult because right now it is 5:30 here, and
dinner time.
Yeah, well, dinner time is late, man. First, you go have an aperitivo, so we'll go have a spritz or a wine and have some snacks, and then do that until about 8-ish, 9-ish, and then go have dinner. So every night it just drags on, man. It's like it's an ordeal too. It's not a in and out 30-minute thing where
like when you get a table, you can stay at that table all night if you want.
Oh man, it drags on, and it's cool. We have a restaurant right across the street. The street in front of the house that we're at is like 10 feet wide, and so there you open the front door, and the restaurant, the seating, the patio is in the street, but it's right. You just walk across the street and sit down, like that's it. And so it's too easy, man.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you kind of touched on, obviously we've used the term virtual wholesaling, but what's the other term that people use for these, like nomads, virtual nomads, or whatever? You see a lot of them in Bali and Thailand, and it's earning money and a higher, like a Canadian dollar, US dollar, euro, and then living somewhere that has a lower cost of living where you get a good transfer rate on those dollars. And that's kind of what you touched on there, where the median income isn't quite as high, especially in some of these rural towns in Italy, but it provides amazing quality of life, safe, good food, good views, and you can spend as much time as you want there, and then come back as needed. So that's something to think about, because I've literally, one of my goals is to as our kids get a little older, is to be able to disappear like all summer long and go spend a month in Switzerland and a month in Scotland or wherever it may be, and even multiple places, just to have the freedom to be able to do that, instead of just throwing basketballs and popsicles at them and let them play in the backyard for 3 months. So definitely something that is on my bucket list too. Is to,
and the kids get to see abroad. A whole new experience, a whole new society and cultures and everything. And I have a 12-year-old boy and then my 3-year-old little girl, and my son's been going to camps here and learning Italian and experiencing the life as a 12-year-old in a small town in Italy. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
no, we're travel bugs. I've lived in Czech Republic for a while, and
cool.
That's something back on we're waiting for everything to kind of calm down with COVID. I was looking the other day, and even like 3-year-olds have to get swabbed to come back in the U.S. right now. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know if my 3-year-old's going to want to do that. It's going to be a little hectic situation there. Well, cool. That's awesome. Now, so started off, I mean, your biggest deal, that big assignment fee allows you to kind of kick off this whole trajectory of your wholesale business and kind of all the things we've talked about now. Now, what advice would you give to someone that kind of wanted to, start right now, given like the market's a little tough and a little crazy? Anything top of mind?
Yeah, man. I know somebody that also reached out to me. I think you reached out to me on Instagram. Another guy, I've had a bunch of people reach out to me, and I always try and respond. If I didn't respond to you, my bad, but I really try and respond to everybody that reaches out to me. And one guy reached out to me. He's new. It was starting his first couple deals, and I helped him get some of these under his belt, and now he's killing it. So it's still, the markets are saturated, right? There's tons of other wholesalers out there, but just like with anything, man, if you work hard and focus on it and try and do something just a little bit different than everybody else. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have perfected this or are doing really well at it. Go look and see what they're doing. Maybe do what you're doing a little bit differently. But there's tons of houses, especially in these big metropolitan areas like Houston, but not DFW. There's no more room there. Y'all just get out of there. Don't start
Zero.
DFW.
None, yeah.
But there's still room. There's still room to do it. And what's cool about wholesaling is you get to learn about the transactional piece. It's especially great if you're good at sales because on the acquisition side, you're selling the seller why they should sell the property to you for such a discounted amount, right? So you have to be good at that part, the negotiation and everything, and also comping the property, valuing it, trying to figure out what you can sell it for and what it's going to be worth. And then, it used to be if you could sell at 80% minus AR minus repairs, it was, even some deals were hard to sell. Now it's like, man, if I could find a deal 80% minus repairs, I'm going to buy it because I could probably sell it for 83, or I'm going to keep it myself, or whatever. I mean, they're hard to come by. So, so yeah, man, I kind of got distracted. Where are we going with this?
just like simple advice on like I mean, I think you're kind of wrapping in like, kick it off and have some hard work, right? Grind a little bit and model after someone that's semi-successful. You can find someone, kind of see what they're doing.
Yeah, find somebody, see what they're doing, go do it too. And what's cool about the wholesale is that it can give you some quick capital to then go and invest yourself. Go do your own flips, buy your own rentals. Have the money for the skin in the game. To do some hard money on or whatever, and have some cushion. I mean, it's great. You can. There are some sharks in wholesale and some unsavory characters that do it, unfortunately. But there are regular business guys that do a great job at it.
Yeah, and I would say too, we were talking about wholesale a lot, is don't listen. This is some great advice I'm about to drop. Okay, don't listen to every guru that's on YouTube. Get on there, get the basis for it. But a lot of them make their money off affiliate marketing, sending you to services, whether it be direct mail or PropStream or this and that. And I have links to all of those as well. But when you first start out, if you grind and get a Google number for free, maybe pull a list, maybe do one service like PropStream where you can get some free, some free information every month. I think it's some ungodly amount, 30,000 leads or whatever. Driving for dollars, get in your car and go, ride around neighborhoods and look for derelict properties. Look them up on your county tax records. Try to get that first deal, and then take some of that money and allocate it to more automated marketing, like hiring a VA to do cold calling at $5 an hour, or get a very select list of vacant houses and direct mail them. Don't just direct mail, the whole city. There's a lot of ways that you can not spend a lot of money and start getting like one or two deals and building that pipeline. And then as you grow, expanding your marketing efforts and spending money to touch more people, whether it be, people now are doing billboards and commercials and radio, things like that. But when you first start, if you just hustle, you can uncover some deals out there for not a lot of dollars. And that would be kind of my tip to build on that about working hard and mimicking somebody. But don't buy in that you immediately have to spend $5,000 in direct mail to get started,
or $5,000 for a program.
Exactly. Yes, programs are great. YouTube University, where you can see this, get on podcasts. There's a lot of people out there that are spitting some information, and some of the guys that have the highest following are more on that level of affiliated program teaching, which is fine, because a lot of people. It is good to be able to pay for quick information and be taught exactly how to do it, but don't spend your life savings on it. Try to get a couple of deals and learn the ropes, the hard way. And then as you want to scale, try to uncover. A lot of those guys are going to teach you how to systematize things versus your generic, looking properties up and finding them. That you can do that for next to nothing nowadays with the internet. So. Mm-hmm. Some great advice. So we ask our guest, what's their favorite podcast or show, or if they have some favorite books or personalities they like to follow. Can you share who kind of comes first to mind?
Yeah, so this podcast called Your Biggest Deal, that's my favorite one by far.
Yeah. There you go.
Man, I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss, and my wife actually gave me his 4-Hour Workweek book a long time ago, and that was, man, that kicked me off on this whole trying to figure out how to not work myself to death on things, and I think that's, it's not real estate related, it's work related, but if you can tie that into real estate, that's a good one, man.
Yeah, he was talking about VAs before VAs were cool, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, man.
That was probably one of the first books I read a long time ago. And like you said, it's really a business book. And kind of teach it's 4-hour work week, so kind of how to take things off your plate, create a team, let the team work. Step out, force the team to work without contacting you. He talks about things in there where emails and whatnot he would get. Yeah, that's a good one, and he's kind of nowadays. I wouldn't consider it old school, but he's been around for a while, and he's not like a new guru or anything. Like this guy, he's been out there for a better part of a decade, probably.
Yeah,
sharing his skills with that. But that's kind of how he started a 4-hour work week. I've got it floating around here somewhere. And I probably need to reread it, to be honest.
Yeah,
and take some more tips out of it.
I actually listened to it on the flight over here. Again, after I don't know how many times I've listened to it, but because I listen to everything on Audible.
Yeah, me too.
I multitask. It's
Yeah, yeah. I can't sit around and read for. It's in the car or exercising or something. It's not sitting with a book in my hand that put me right to sleep. But some great advice for sure. This is like I said, this is probably our first podcast episode to kind of focus all around wholesaling. It seems like you've taken wholesaling and you're not trying to go crazy with it and build this army of 30 cold callers and a boiler room, but you're using it to provide a great quality of life and not working yourself to death, and that's considering you've got some sort of Italian palm tree behind you, that kind of speaks to that for sure. So where can people find out a little bit more information about you if they wanted to message you on Instagram or kind of see what you got going on?
Yeah, my Instagram is @housebuyinghero, housebuyinghero, and I named myself that after. There was a couple deals I've done where I save people. It's not all about just trying to find somebody who's in like just a bad situation and you're trying to take advantage of them. It's a lot of it is there are people who need a solution. They have a piece of property, they got to get rid of it for whatever reason, and a lot of times what wholesalers are able to do that real estate agents really aren't is structure a deal around their needs. You have somebody who has these needs. They don't necessarily. Their needs might not necessarily be they want to make the most money out of the property. Their needs could be that they need to close on a very set schedule. They need a 2-month or 3-month lease back or something bananas, and they want to leave all their crap there. There could be health issues or whatever, and there are ways to get creative with these deals and earn more deals, and so that's kind of a short explanation of how this came from. But
yeah, when you're dealing with the public, it's these people are the a lot of times the outliers, the hoarder houses, the drug houses.
Absolutely.
There's something going on there while the house isn't retail ready a lot of times, and we're the crazy ones to deal with it. But it does lead to some fat checks a lot of times. So
that's right, man. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
And then you can take it and move abroad if you want, or buy a new hot rod, like I said. So, well, Patrick, I appreciate the stories. Letting us dive into your business a little bit. Hope your partners are okay with that. We didn't get too deep though.
We'll see.
But yeah, if you want to find out a little more about Patrick, it's House Buying Hero on Instagram, and I'm sure that'll link you into anything else he's got going on. And he seems open. If you have any quick questions for him or want to pay him to teach you, I'm sure he'll help you out. But yeah, thanks again for your time.
Hit me up.
And sharing your Italian paradise with us, and hopefully, we can come visit you soon somewhere on the Amalfi Coast. So, thanks again.
Yeah, come on.
Thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good talking to you.
Thank you for listening to another amazing episode of Your Biggest Deal. Please like, subscribe, and share with friends. And don't forget to tag Your Biggest Deal on Facebook and Instagram. To connect with Joseph Williams or for questions and feedback, visit yourbiggestdeal.com. Thank you for listening and learning. Now, it's time to take action.